There are some hidden Marvel Rivals settings that could triple your frame rate, boost your in-game performance, make your aim better, and overall make you a better player at the game without you really even trying. I'll split this video into two parts: performance settings and gameplay settings. First up is ExitLag, the sponsor of this video. This is not a VPN, it's actually something I've used myself to fix lag in the past. The trouble is with a lot of internet providers is that they'll route your traffic to the game server in a really bad way, adding ping to your game. ExitLag basically ensures your connection to the game is always taking the most optimal route possible and will boost your ping. Let's see how it fixes my ping to Frankfurt server. Alright, what if I wanted to play with my friends in North America? You can see how it helps the ping here massively. ExitLag will also route your data packets through 4 different routes at the same time, which means you're less likely to have problems with lag spikes and packet loss. Oh, and it has an FPS boost mode, allowing you to switch on and off settings that could be impacting your performance on your PC. You can get 3 days free and up to 50% off on solo, duo, and squad plans by using code MERCHANT when clicking the link in the description. This is a limited time holiday promo though, so act quickly before the sale goes. Next up, let's talk about improving your frame rate massively. We're going to be using a config file. I'll explain how you can use in-game settings instead later if you don't want to do this, but I do believe this config file is the best way to get the best frame rate currently. And don't worry, this file just tells the game what settings to use, and it's a very common thing for Unreal Engine games. Now, I didn't make this, so I'll put a link in the description so you can download it, but this file will completely change the way your game looks, but massively improve your frame rate, and in some cases actually make it easier to see what you're looking at. If you don't like this setting, you will need to come back to the file and delete it later. To set up this file, first, download the link in the description. Next, press Windows key plus R on your keyboard, then type %localappdata%, then scroll down to Marvel, click Saved, click Config, Windows, and place the file in there. Now open up your game and voila, your frame rate is boosted. Keep in mind, you will need to take this file out of this folder for you to get your game looking normal again. Now there are some problems with this file. The chronovision feature doesn't seem to work, and yeah, it does look a bit low quality. But if that's not a big deal, you'll be fine and swimming in frame rates. If you don't want to use the file though, you can change some settings in game to adjust your game's performance. There's some specific settings that really ruin your gameplay that you may not be aware of. First, on the display tab, change super resolution mode to ultra performance and sharpening to 0. This will give the biggest boost to your settings, although it will make your game run in potato mode. Turn on NVIDIA Reflex if you have the right GPU. Turn off VSync and turn all of the graphic settings to low. Global illumination is the most important thing to turn down here as well. You'll want SSGI low quality, and definitely not lumen, as that will destroy your frames. Now, some people wonder whether to have frame generation on. You may see that when you turn this on, your frame rate goes up massively, but actually this setting adds a lot of input delay. Maybe in the future this will be a setting worth using in games, but for a game like Marvel Rivals right now, definitely keep this off. It's gonna make your game feel worse. Now, whether you've chosen the config file or chose to adjust the in-game settings, there's one more big thing you'll need to do. In fast-paced games like Marvel Rivals, the biggest problem next to your frame rate is actually how much your frames fluctuate. A crisp, clean 120 FPS could feel a lot smoother than if your PC is going back and forth crazily between 120 and 200. So, load up a custom lobby, fill it with bots, and fly around Tokyo 2099 with Spider-Man, go around the map, jump into the bots, and spam your abilities. Pay attention to how low your frame rate goes. For me, it seems to be around 180, and then go into the settings and choose the limit FPS option and lower it to that lower amount. Try and choose a nice round number. It may seem counterintuitive, but it is going to help everything feel a lot smoother. Okay, so that's some decent performance fixes out of the way. Now let's talk about some ways you can fix your own gameplay. Firstly, let's talk crosshairs. Everyone has different preferences, but there's one important thing I think a good crosshair needs in this game: a very precise small center dot that's high contrast against the enemies, because long-range targets like Mantis will look tiny. So this is great for hit scan and high velocity heroes like Hela. But then you have the opaque crosshair part that has about this length and gap between the main dot. The reason is up close, you'll want to aim slightly to the right of the dot to hit shots because of the way aiming works in most third-person games. So anything in this center area is going to hit people. Now, secondly, long range, these crosshairs will help you to lead your shots. You want to aim somewhere between the center dot and the first crosshair arm, and not actually on the dot with some weapons, because some weapons take time to travel to the target. I'll share my crosshair code in the description. You can copy and paste that into your game if you don't want to make your own. Next, let's talk about mouse acceleration. This is a very big one. I can't believe it. It's automatically turned on in Marvel Rivals, and this may be why you're struggling to get good aim practice. This will ruin your aim, and I can't stress how important it is to turn this off. In fact, I'll be honest, mouse acceleration in this game is horrible. The more you move your mouse across your desk, the faster your aim will go. Really, what you want is to have nice, fluid one-to-one movement. No matter how much you move your mouse, it will always move the same distance and speed. So, mouse acceleration needs to go off. Now, you can't do this in the settings. So, first, press Windows and R, go to Local App Data again. Next, click Marvel, Saved, Config, Windows, and then right-click Game User Settings, click Edit. You can use Notepad++ if you don't have a good program yet. It's free to use. Once open, go to the bottom and add the following text. I'll put it in the description as well. Now press Save and open up the game again, and you'll notice mouse acceleration will be off, helping your in-game aim massively. Now, I did make a settings video before with some tips and tricks when I was newer to the game. Now, with more practice under my belt, I want to go through some settings that you may not be sure about whether to set or not. Firstly, Jeff the Land Shark. Now, I actually put this as advanced towards crosshair in the past. With some more practice, I realized advanced vertically upwards is better. This does not mean when you get in the wall, you'll just start going upwards. It actually just means that you can move around with your arrow keys or your crosshair instead of it following the direction you're looking. It's a lot better. Next, we have some important stuff for Spider-Man that you may not have seen already. Now, I know that everyone's already probably shared the tip where you need to have automatic swing off, very important, hold swing on, and of course, direction of wall crawling, vertically upwards. But the interesting thing here is the get over here targeting. Now, by default, it's actually the same key like this. So let me show you what happens when it's on default, okay? If you web someone and press get over here, you'll be brought towards them. If you don't web them and you press it, you'll bring them towards you. But what happens if you web them and you don't want to go towards them? Well, by default, you don't have control over that, which is a bit frustrating. But if you set this to the right key here, now what will happen is when you press the web button, you press a specific targeting option, you'll go towards them. But if you press the default web button, you'll bring them towards you. Regardless of whether you web them or not, you can still bring them towards you. So you now have more control over whether you go towards them or they come towards you. So that's it for now. Hopefully this video will provide you a lot of use. And once again, thanks to ExitLag for sponsoring. You can check out them in the description. Make sure to use code MERCHANT if you do buy a plan. And see you in the next video. Cheerio.